I spent 9 years hating my older sister. It took one rainy Tuesday and an email she never sent to show me I'd had her wrong the whole time. I'm 24. Rana is 26. Our parents own a bakery on the corner of a street that floods every spring. And from the time we could reach the counter, it was obvious which daughter belonged behind it and which one belonged in the back. I started working there at 11, not helping, working. 4 in the morning, scaling flour in the dark, learning to read dough by feel because my father wouldn't buy a thermometer. Rana couldn't wake up before 9 to save her life. She'd drift in at 10, tie on a clean apron, and stand at the register looking exactly like the daughter my parents wanted people to see. There's a wall by the door with framed photos. Rana handing a box to the mayor. Rana at the county fair. Rana in the newspaper spread they did on family businesses. I asked once, when I was 14, why none of them had me in them. My father said, without looking up, that Rana had the face for the front. When I was 17, the Regional Bakers Guild offered a culinary scholarship. I filled out the whole application at the kitchen table. Recipes, essays, a handwritten page about my grandmother's semolina bread that took me 2 weeks. My father read it, nodded, and said families were only allowed to submit one applicant. He submitted Rana's name. She went to school in the city for 2 years. I stayed and ran the ovens. The last one broke me. 3 years ago, my parents transferred ownership of the shop. I found out at a cousin's wedding from an aunt who assumed I already knew, who said congratulations. Isn't it wonderful? Your sister's going to take such good care of it. I smiled and said yes. Then I went to the parking lot and sat in my car for 40 minutes. After that, I stopped. I took a line cook job at a hotel 2 towns over, working under a chef who yelled but at least yelled at me by name. I stopped going to Sunday dinners. I stopped telling my mother anything real because watching her nod politely at my life hurt worse than saying nothing. The anger stopped being sharp and settled into something dense and low in my chest, a weight I carried around for years without ever putting down. Then last month, Rana got the flu and called me, desperate because the shop had a wedding order due, and nobody else knew the laminate. I said fine. One day, I told myself it meant nothing. I was in the back office looking for the invoice binder when I bumped the mouse and the computer woke up. Her email was open, sitting in drafts. The top one was addressed to both our parents. It was dated 4 years ago, never sent. The first line stopped me cold. She is the better baker and every single person who works here knows it except you two. The second, I told the guild I was withdrawing so they could give the scholarship to her. Dad called them the next morning and told them I'd changed my mind. I let him. I've hated myself for that ever since. The third, put her name on the deed with mine or don't put mine on it at all. And then the last one, which I read maybe 6 times. I would hand the entire shop back tomorrow if it meant she got to feel, for one day, like she belonged in this family. The back door opened. Rana came in, still pale, holding a bag of cough drops, and saw my face, and then saw the screen. She didn't get angry. She just set the bag down and said, very quietly, that there was a reason she never sent it. Then she sat on the flour bin and told me things I'd spent 9 years not knowing, that she'd asked them repeatedly over years in rooms I was never in, that every photo on that wall made her sick, that she'd been terrified to tell me, because if I found out she'd fought for me and lost, I'd stop having anyone to be angry at except our parents, and she didn't want to hand me that. We talked until the ovens went cold. It was the first real conversation of our lives. It hasn't fixed our parents. That's slower, and we're still in it. But last week, Rana took my grandmother's bread recipe, the one in my handwriting, and put it in a frame in the middle of that wall by the door. Then she told our father to try taking it down. I wasted 9 years resenting the only person in that building who was ever on my side.